Hi everyone. Today our first guest is Sharon Ndzamela, who is a 28-year veteran of the modeling. As a modeling career consultant, she specializes in strategic talent architecture, helping performing individuals align their personal purpose with global brand equity, corporate sponsorship, acquisition, and long-term business sustainability. My second guest is Natasha Perold, the newly crowned Mr. Space of the Universe South Africa 2027. Beyond the crown, Natasha is a corporate powerhouse working in business development within the medical field. The journey to the title wasn't about glamour, it was a strategic execution of market positioning, corporate alignment, and utilizing her business acumen to command a global stage. How are you?
I
Yeah,
am well. Look, I was waiting for the Queen to start chatting. So, Queen, go right ahead.
Siddharth, it's so wonderful to see you. I think it was probably 2 months ago.
Wow,
Or more. It's been a while. So thank you very, very much for inviting us. I am very well and very blessed. Trying to be warm because the Durban weather has suddenly turned a little bit chilly. But how are you guys doing?
that's fine.
Hello, Queen. Hello, hello. I am well. I know you two are in Durban at the moment. So, your interpretation of winter is totally different to ours here in Johannesburg. But we are keeping warm. I am well. And you're looking amazing, Natasha.
Oh, thank you, Sharon. Look at you, girl. And look at Siddharth.
Amazing.
You're
Thank
What
you.
too,
an amazing gentleman you are. You know, you're
you're
such an
too kind.
amazing person.
You're
No,
too
we really
kind.
appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. First topic I like to cover with you all is the business of self-management and the entrepreneurship. Starting with you, Sharon, you often speak about treating a modeling or pageantry career as a business enterprise rather than a creative hobby. When a client walks into your consult, how do you shift their mindset from simply looking the part to acting as a CEO of their own brand?
Well, Sid, one of the first things that I tell my clients when they consult with me is a crown does not build a brand, strategy does. The industry does not reward the most beautiful person in the room. It really doesn't. It rewards a person who understands the value and knows how to communicate that value consistently. So, whenever a client comes to me and they want me to train them to win the pageant, I challenge them to say, listen, I don't train you to win a pageant. I want you to ask yourself rather, what problem is it that do I want to solve? What value do I want to bring and what impact do I want to leave? So the key here is when one starts to think like a CEO of your own brand, everything else changes. So you become very intentional with your image, you become intentional with your communication, as well as your relationships, your finances, and the opportunities that come your way. So I really teach my clients to build themselves as an enterprise. So it's beyond representing yourself as a title, so that your partnerships and what you're posting on social media becomes part of your portfolio. So this is key for any aspiring pageant entrant to note that the crown is not the title. You need
Mm,
strategy.
yeah, totally agreed. Totally agreed.
Awesome. Natasha, given your professional background in medical business development, how did you apply corporate strategy to your pageantry journey? And how did Sharon's consulting help you bridge the gap between corporate execution and stage execution?
Yeah, I know. So being in corporate was really such an awakening to how one is able to structure yourself. And I just think I will add on to Sharon's comment that when you go into business or even pageantry, I understand it right now that you cannot leave a part of you behind. So it was so wonderfully refreshing to be able to take strategy, positioning, as well as preparation into purpose of being part of the crown, because this is exactly what I do in my business life. We cannot go into boardrooms or business strategies without having a clear plan, organizing your thoughts, having your proactive leadership to be able to give you your potential outcomes of what you want to do. But those without structure and without conviction leaves you on a blank stage. And I think Sharon actually helped me to translate my language, which was more business. And I'm also in the medical field space. So the hospital corridors, or even teaching or training students or new people on boarding, it's very clear for me to understand what am I about to achieve, why is it important, and what we going to outcome. So she's given me clear strategy and helped me to take that same structure and apply it into modeling, and not actually modeling, pageantry, because it was never about the crown for me. It was really about investing in the dream that I had as a younger girl. So I think I would really say thank you, Sharon, for understanding my language, but also using it as practical tools, like you say, to encourage people, because this is what we're going to do now. We're going to be able to transfer this information to others.
Indeed, indeed. And I just wanted to add there, Sid, that one of the misconceptions around anyone that's entering into this industry, especially when they have a career already, my approach in training Natasha was, do not separate the two. Remember, you have this wealth of experience, and yes, you're entering into the industry that we still need to enlighten society that it is more than outward features. It's all about impact. And I think for the next 12 months, this is what you're going to see, the business developer side of who Natasha is. Because in as much as it is a pageant, it's also an enterprise. And I'm looking forward to just seeing the impact, the tangible impact, that the skills that Natasha will bring forth to elevate the brand, and also just bring awareness around the causes that she stands for as well.
No, thank you. And for me, just the one key tip that I had taken back from having the structure of business into pageantry was that just one lesson, that people do not invest in perfection. They invest in purpose. And this is the same with any kind of business entity. They really believe in your purpose before they believe in what you perfectly present.
Awesome. All right, we'll get into the commercial positioning and branding. Sharon, people think modeling is just walking up and down, but you focus heavily on portfolio equity and visual asset management. What are the key visual and aesthetic elements that make a talent commercially viable to high-end luxury brands or international judges?
You know what? In reality, in as much as you can post a beautiful picture, everything about yourself from a picture, whatever you're posting, needs to tell a story, because beauty alone can create that opportunity, yes. But in reality, when you're working with sponsors, it all boils down to commercial viability as well as strategic positioning. So even though I do focus on grooming, styling, posture, body language, facial expression, and all that comes in a package of personal presentation, it is very important that we curate your portfolio. And that comes with being consistent across all platforms, from your website. Natasha's got a website coming up soon. To your social media, to your media kit, and public appearances as well, interviews. This all should communicate a message. And I call it a visual asset management, because every video, every interview, every image adds value. It can either increase it or decrease your market value, because at the end of the day, brands don't just invest in beautiful faces, they invest in trustworthy brands. So this is the misconception that I want to break, that beauty alone is not going to position you correctly. You must have strategy and position yourself accordingly.
Absolutely.
Natasha, how did your personal branding strategy evolve under Sharon's guidance to ensure you stood out not just as a contestant, but as a high-value global ambassador?
Wow. Would you like me to start at the beginning, mountain? So I will just give you a small story at the beginning. I was in Cape Town and I had messaged Sharon, and she responded while I was about to, with my husband and I, climb up Table Mountain, Lion's Head. And I saw this portfolio diagnosis of the brand that I should be, which I knew I always was. I lived this perception that I am a leader of my own life, so I need to dress up that way. But she gave, I think, 1,000 perspectives of exactly what I need to know and work on and practice. I wanted to actually throw my phone down the mountain and say, okay, I'm just climbing today. But I realized right then and then that just like climbing a mountain, and it has little peaks and curves, but if I had to focus at getting to the top before taking those little valleys with Sharon's advice, I would have actually depleted everything and felt defeated. So I took on that investment and created, or taken her advice, and we curated something so special, because I not only now understand why I have to live my brand, which is Thrival. It became an extension of me as a healthcare leader, wife, mother, entrepreneur, woman of faith, and especially gave my voice clarity in terms of my positioning of Visible Hope, which is the movement. I could not speak. I promise you, I said to Sharon every day, I don't know how I'm going to get through this pageant. I need to. It's not for me. I know God put something inside of me, but I cannot speak clearly. She just never heard that. She just insisted that I practice small habits every day, consistency and no perfection. And I must say, the scariest part is starting new is always scary, because we understand people are watching us. We understand our own judgment. And in your brand, if you believe your structures and you have certain pillars that guideline you, it can evolve, but you remain the core part of that brand, because you live it and people will see it before you can speak. So it's really, really been such an honor, because I not only became somebody who now wears a crown, I really discovered my assignment. And my assignment is to restore health and hope so that I can serve people with purpose, and just make sure that they're reminded that every season has a reason and your story is never over.
I love it. I love it. The world has been waiting for you, Natasha. I think the wealth of experience, and I mean, looking at your background as well in the medical field, being a nurse, this industry, I know you're going to impact it beyond the 12 months. And I look forward to walking in this journey. And Yeah, let's continue before I get all emotional.
Awesome. All right. Sharon, a massive hurdle for models and title holders is securing corporate sponsorship, especially of business development. How do you train your clients to pitch themselves to corporate boards and secure financial backing?
So I've seen a pattern that, whenever anyone approaches a sponsor, they usually come there with the mindset of, oh, please help me get meet my KPIs to this competition. But corporate leaders aren't looking to add on to their portfolio of, okay, we will donate. They're looking for a return on investment. So
Mm,
um, when I train my clients, I want them to understand how to approach a sponsor. So we work on defining the value proposition, so that when you approach your sponsor, you already understand who their audience is, um, what impact you also want to collaborate in creating with that prospective sponsor, and how does your mission align with their company values as well. Um, so we really work on visibility. Sorry, Natasha, for using that word. How your visibility as a contestant can you add towards the company's values as well. So I really teach them to move away from asking for money and instead present a partnership opportunity. Okay, because the question that every contestant needs to answer, and this is the question that the sponsor will ask: why should our company invest in you instead of someone else? So when you're able to communicate that impact in a measurable way with credibility and a long-term vision, the conversation really does change from charity to strategic partnership. So I believe that's where sustainable sponsorship really begins.
Mm, absolutely.
awesome. Awesome. Natasha, how did refining your communication and pitching skills under Sharon's mentorship directly impact your ability to speak with authority, secure partners, and ultimately win the universe title?
Well, it just aligned exactly with who I was, because I often, right from the beginning, I separated my personal values, my work ethic and drive, and saw pageantry as glam, foreign, beautiful earrings, false eyelashes, and so forth. And the minute I spoke to Sharon, she just unpacked suitcases and said, let's put everything that looks the same into one bag. And I promise you, it started becoming clear and apparent. The systems we use in healthcare and partnership building creates legacy, right? Because I have created a system or reliable brand that people look at me and they say, we can trust Natasha. I just had a phone call from a client who was asking about something that I don't actually offer. And I was able to clearly say to her that I don't have this, but I do know where she can get it. She responded something to me that just snapped right back in saying, Natasha, you are phenomenal. I can always trust you. So the word trust has been always a part of me. I had to level it into the atmosphere of what the communication that we brought. So it encouraged me just three things: trustworthiness, integrity, and shared values. I'm able to translate those simple frameworks or structure into all communication, and that helps me in my workplace, even at home with my children, my husband. I have to be clear because he says to me, I talk too much, and I love talking, but now I need to be able to give clear information and trustworthy. So if I don't know, I'm going to say, guys, I don't know, and I really would love to learn. And that's been the beautiful part of having the right people like yourself and Sharon to be able to collaborate and keep on learning more things together.
Awesome. All right, I'll get to the last category, which is purpose, alignment, and the legacy asset. Okay. Sharon, you have a beautiful philosophy around assignment discovery and purpose alignment. Why is technical skill completely useless if a model doesn't understand the deeper purpose or assignment behind their career?
This is very close to my heart because, like I always say, your beauty, your skills may open the door, but it's only your purpose that will determine why you are in the room. I've seen really incredible and talented individuals lose momentum because they are chasing titles instead of fulfilling an assignment. And that's the first thing that I said to Natasha. I remember I recommended a book, and it's called The Burden of Freedom by the late Dr. Miles Monroe, who made a powerful statement and said, if a purpose of anything is not known, abuse is inevitable. So this is where purpose and knowing and understanding why you are there. We are all on assignment. So the technical skills that I train on, runway, posing, public speaking, as well as how to conduct interviews are important. They are tools, but without purpose, without discovering that purpose or working towards wanting to discover what your purpose is, there is no direction. So I often say that even when you do discover your assignment, you then stop competing with anyone else. So looking at the portfolio of Natasha and the frameworks that we worked on, it was key and it was very important that we start building from that understanding that you are not there to compete, you are there to discover your assignment. And I believe that created a lot of clarity for her journey, and this is what now Visible Hope is going to portray, because that was what was revealed throughout the journey of her training. And you could see that even from discovering her assignment, this is where confidence came in, and she was able to be consistent with the assignments that she was given to do. And now she's in a space of building influence. So for me, pageantry has never been a destination. It's only a platform. So every client that comes to me, we always are mindful that this is a platform for fulfilling that assignment.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Good.
All right. All right, Natasha, looking back at the blueprint Sharon created for you, how did discovering your specific assignment change the way you carried yourself on that stage? Sorry about that.
No problem, Siddharth. So again, I love storytelling. Storytelling actually gives me a picture of where I've been, where I am, and where I'm going. And that has actually been my blueprint. My confidence levels are usually internally introspect, dissect, clarify, get somebody to acknowledge and make sure that I'm getting recognition all the time. And that stopped the minute I had my assignment. It no longer became chasing a crown. It became a legacy beyond what the crown could serve, how it can influence, and what am I going to leave behind. And that story stemmed from a little girl. I always wanted people to feel seen, to feel heard, to feel like every single person we meet is absolutely amazing. They're all important. Doesn't matter what title, what they're wearing, and what they look like. And that blueprint gave me that responsibility that comes with the crown. And at some stage, I actually said to Sharon, I don't know if I can do this. This is very heavy. Because when I started concentrating, it was more about how am I going to finish the race? I no longer had time to look outside behind me or even in front of me. I had to focus at what I'm supposed to achieve and how it will affect other people in my daily life. And I know I'm going to mess up a lot of times, and this is why it's wonderful to be invested in a great people around you. But we keep each other accountable to our assignment. And that's the stewardship that I've learned, that we have a platform of influence. And just like yours, Siddharth, you've given us a platform to be able to give that influence, to give a voice, to help people to see that they too are not alone. There's no perfection, but there's opportunities created for other people. And that's a value that you add, Sharon adds, and I now extendedly will add on to allow other people to join us on our journey. So I don't want to be remembered as just wearing the crown. I want to be remembered as helping other people discover their assignment too.
That's beautiful. All right, I'll get to the comment questions here. This is for Natasha here. This is from Maya Swarmers and Raps. Okay. Dear Natasha, I admire you, strong and resilient, a woman of many hats. How do you cope being in many shoes?
I don't think there is a great answer for that one, because we're not meant to cope with certain things, nor are we meant to survive. So for me, it's always been about priorities. We have one day. One day has 24 hours. 24 hours has 60 has minutes. And in those minutes, we need to be able to understand who is our little circle, what are trying to achieve from day to day, because we try to pressure. Well, I used to be somebody who used to finish a month's work in a day, hence I never slept, never ever slept. But I think it also, I celebrate the women that survived many roles and not doing it without understanding. Now I understand it, and I understand that time is value and time makes money, right? So if I value my time, I steward that well. And sometimes it's going to mean I tell my husband that he can do a lot of things that I can't, but he actually is very great. I tell my children or my workplace, I'm able to do that with honor because I know what it means to invest in time versus outcomes or people's opinions.
Awesome. All right, I'll get to Sharon's question here, which is again from Maya Swarmers and Raps. Dear Sharon, you are beautiful and an achiever. I also admire you. What inspired you into modeling?
Thank you so much. Thank you. I was not inspired to get into modeling. I had the privilege of being scouted at a very tender age.
Wow.
And just being exposed to that world, I then realized that this was part and parcel of my calling. And it's been a journey. It's been a journey of discovery. You know, being in the modeling industry, because we are assessed on a physical level, and also rejected as well, due to our looks. It takes a person to get to a point where they start reflecting on who they really are. And when I started doing that at the age of my 30s, I then discovered that, nothing happens by chance, because, I had modeled for so many years, didn't really necessarily have a qualification. But as I started doing the reflection and seeing the experiences that I had, I realized, nothing happens by chance. I may not have had the ability to articulate what it was I was exposed to, but now that I'm in my 40s, I then realized that no, you were being developed. Your talent was being developed, and now that you are at a platform that you're able to develop others, this is what you do. So I know that all things work out for our good.
Hey, yes.
Beautiful. Thanks
Yes.
so much for your time, ladies.
Sid,
Thank
you are
you.
amazing.
So
We just want
Sid,
to honor you.
I want to say thank you because you've actually allowed me to see that we can share that every season has a reason, right? And I'm so glad to know that I will have seasons that are difficult, but this time we know that we are not alone and we know that we can depend on each other to say, hey, get up and let's do this together. So thank you very much, Sid. You continue to be a blessing and we look forward to watching more of your series ahead.
And thank
Awesome.
you
And
for
hopefully,
inspiring us to also just go for
uh-huh,
it. I know there's so
anytime.
many beautiful and great things that are coming in Natasha's portfolio, and I know that you were part and parcel of the seed that you sowed and in opening up the doors. So really, we want to see you flourish. We want your YouTube channel to keep growing, and just know that we're always here. If you want us to reshare, we'll reshare. Okay.
Awesome.
Yes, thank you.
All right, and hopefully I'm much better health-wise. Sorry for the, you know. All right, take care, ladies.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
bye. Have a
you.
wonderful evening. Bye, everybody. Mwah.